A lot of this show is in this century, but a lot of it's gone backwards as well. John Mayhew is doing his best to keep me informed, at least, about what's going on recently. He's still very interested in the show. He listens, and we talk every so often, and I think he will be back at some point. When we started, we were interested in radio, but we still don't think radio in its present form will last indefinitely, and John's more of that point of view. I sort of go back to Luxembourg and think, quite a while ago, but he's not. He likes radio, but he thinks it's more social media sort of way that radio will go, or music discovery, distribution will head that way, and that is what's going on. I mean, we've been doing it for about 10 years now, and I think there are some developments going to happen. There are going to be bits of news which can't be avoided. I'm looking at page 11 of the print Guardian, and it's quite an odd page, but it's got 3 or 4 stories. The biggest photograph is about the signet ring. It's the royal swans, the annual census. So that's probably going to go on, much as it always has done. But then there's 3 stories around it. The bottom story, hidden away, well, not hidden away, but you wouldn't leap to it, is university job cuts are creating regional cold spots for subjects. And then the top story is BBC in moment of real jeopardy, number of TV licences falls. And then there's another story down the side of it, which is social media curfew for teenagers not enough, say campaigners. And this is by Robert Booth, the UK technology editor. Long ago, in the last century, let's say, both the Guardian had a tech supplement on a Thursday, I think it was, and it was quite in favour of technology. It could see a benefit. It was advertising jobs in that sort of area. Whereas now I'd say it's almost entirely... I mean, there is a negative side to technology, obviously, but that's the area they seem to concentrate. And then this BBC story, it's a very small photograph of the Director General Matt Britton. The cutbacks will not be easy, quote, but it's a tiny photograph. I think the swans are probably taller, as they are on the printed page, than the Director General of the BBC. But the Guardian and the BBC they're sort of connected in terms of media coverage for the UK. And the other things that strike me about this, they're talking about the option that the licence fee will be expanded to cover Netflix, Disney, Amazon Prime, which I don't think that would be very easy to present, because people think they've just got stuff coming over the web and it's got almost nothing to do with the BBC or the British government for that matter. So that I can't see that one working out. And in this report by Michael Savage, media editor, there's no mention of BBC going on to, or television going on to YouTube. But elsewhere, it has been reported in newspapers that that's under consideration, that BBC Three and BBC Four would be available via YouTube, or a lot of the shows would be. It's already the case that a lot of BBC shows are available on YouTube. And the government pressure expected different. You see different stories, but it's not here at all. BBC would get better billing, and in fact all the public service telly would get special promotion on social media. But I think when they do that, or if they do that, or as they do that, I mean, I know Stumped, I think it's Stumped, there's a World Service cricket programme. I am half asleep at that time, but I know it does come on. They're on YouTube. I'm not sure what sort of promotion they get. But I'm sure they've got a lot of dedicated listeners. I don't see how the BBC can carry on just raising the downside of social media and streaming stuff, and then demand, if they do, agree to be on it, that they must be the biggest sign anywhere to do with it. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Going back to social media curfew for teenagers, not enough, say campaigners. Campaigners are also calling for the government to increase protection for young people against AI chatbots. Well, when that just gets to the idea of learning. Okay, education is one thing which only the education system can define, but what is going on with social media? Is it connected to learning in some way? And is that something the universities could consider? Because there's nothing in this story, university job cuts, about moving online to cut costs or expand the reach. So this idea of regional cold spots sort of implies that if Exeter University doesn't offer humanities, there's nothing anybody in the Southwest can do to connect to those kinds of ideas. Whereas actually most people are using social media or the web for a proportion of blended or hybrid, and that is just not considered here. So there's nothing here about what the BBC is doing to come to terms with social media for their own purposes. There's nothing about online as an option for universities as a model. So what they seem to be saying is that we're going to stay on the campus and we're fully committed to the building stock that we've got and the maintenance and the plans we've got for more student accommodation, etc., etc. And whether we can employ academics or offer adult education or outreach is a variable, which I don't think I'm exaggerating too much. That's what's coming over, and the universities are not explaining themselves very much in terms of what options they've considered. And I also think the newspapers, some of them do say, oh, television, they've got a lot of things to sort out, but the newspapers are not facing up to the way that print might disappear, and they will have to move online completely. They've all got an online offer, but the articles about television don't say, and by the way the print world is contemplating it, will go like this or that. So this story, which is quite small, it's right at the bottom. It's about half the height of the photograph of the swans, and it's by Anna Bowden and Sally Wheel. And if you go online, which I've retweeted now, there's quite a long piece which I thought would be in the central bit, the opinion bit of the Guardian, but it isn't. I don't think it is there. But in the full length one that you get online, and I think, by the way, without rambling on too long, if I've bought a print copy, I ought to be able to get the full version of it without all these things saying this is your 8th time going online for our stories and whatever. But it happens quite a lot that they seem to have an online world, and then they have a print world. And in the print world, very little about what's going online is included. But if you go online, if you're not going to follow our links through X, you want to look for humanities among degrees being extinguished by hard-up universities. So that's the headline. But it's similar to the news story, but it's more like I don't know whether it's an opinion piece or... Well, anyway, it's got diagrams which are very interesting. Russell group and non-Russell group, and they show that nearly all humanities related subjects are going down, so that's education, English studies and social work. But for business and management, it's going slightly up for the Russell group, and also media, journalism and communications, that's going slightly up for the Russell group. But other than that, it's just all dreadful. Social work's going down very, very strongly. And the Russell Group ones with 1,000 job cuts include Exeter, Nottingham, Edinburgh and Glasgow. And I think that's enough for my rave. But page... Oh, yes, sorry, no, it's not. I did hear the Today programme. So it's the Guardian. I can't remember. I think it was a bit after 8 o'clock. So it's page 11 of the Guardian, and then the Today programme. They did interview some teenagers, and they claimed to be shocked at how many hours they spend on social media, and they had no mention at all of what the BBC was planning to do with moving any of their stuff to YouTube or online or anything like that, and no consideration of anything positive from AI or chatbots or learning. So just the idea of learning, maybe it's just used in a very casual, non-technical, non-academic, non-analytical way about something that might happen during interaction with the web through various means. But I think they really should have a look at it at some point, because, or the Today programme could consider how you navigate. If you do go to what's it called, the iPlayer, the archive of Today bits. It's quite hard to navigate through it and find what you slightly heard sometime, whereas if you go to other online places, either it's broken down into smaller chunks, or there's a sort of guide to which bit is which. So I just think the Today programme could consider that. So I'm trying to be helpful as best I can. Sorry that was such a long rave, but I'll try and come back to it in smaller bits later on. Back to the CD player that is working.